guys, today I want to talk about menus. So there are some core differences between a restaurant menu in Italy and a restaurant menu in America. The first time I went to a restaurant here, I felt so confused. I didn't know how to order. They would ask me if I wanted a side with my entree, or they asked me how I wanted my eggs in 7 different ways. They kept bringing me water and more soda refills without me asking, and I was afraid that my bill was gonna be huge because, well, in Italy we don't have free refills. So it truly just felt like I was taking a quiz that I hadn't studied for. I'll show you all the differences so that when you're going to go to your trip to Italy, you're not gonna feel as confused as I felt my first time here in the States. So let's dive into these differences. I have read online opinions of a few people, for example on Reddit, where they say that when they went to Italy at a restaurant, they were a little lost on what to order and how. I would say, not just because I grew up there, so I know how things work there, but I think that a menu in Italy is structured in a much more easy way versus America. I mean, here, no matter where you go, it always feels like you're holding a novel in your hands. There is pages and pages of dishes and side dishes and substitutions. You can understand how it can get confusing for a tourist or an immigrant coming here. In Italy, instead, our menu is very easy, is structured very easily like so. So first thing first, we're gonna have the antipasti, which is nothing but appetizer. So you are thinking of caprese or maybe bruschetta, not bruschetta. Light things just to open up your appetite. Then we move on to the primi or primi piatti. What that is basically the entree. It's the main dish, but here's a caveat. While in America you have an entree that could be pasta, an entree could be meat, it could be seafood. For us, it's actually divided. So we have primi piatti, which is the main entree number 1, technically. And then we have secondi piatti, which is entree number 2. The entree number 1, so primi piatti, is mainly things that have to do with carbs. So you're gonna see different kinds of pasta there. You're gonna see even soup can be a primo piatto because we do put pastina in there. So there you go, you still get carbs. For secondi piatti, so the second entree, you will see more of dishes that have proteins. So for example, meat or fish. To give you an idea, secondi piatti could be, for example, roasted chicken. It could be a steak. It could be sea bass. Attention, because these entrees almost never come with side dishes. So again, while in America you order an entree, 99% of the time the waiter is gonna ask you what side dish do you want with your entree, and Americans tend to put everything into one big dish. For us, instead, you will find it separately. So you will have your pasta, for example, in one dish, and then separately you will get your second dish, so your meat. And then also after that, separately, you will get your side dish. We call the side dish contorno. A contorno could be a salad, it could be string beans, for example, boiled veggies, anything that is lighter and that is in the family of veggies. Then after that, you will find dessert, which is here too. Our desserts tend to be less heavy and less buttery. I'm not saying that American desserts are not good. It's just that for my taste, they feel a lot heavier and a lot more buttery than what we make. Nothing wrong with that, I just really despise butter. After the dessert, if you go to a big lunch, like a luncheon, say a wedding luncheon, something big and structured, they will also bring you fruit after dessert. And then after that, you will have espresso and digestivo. Digestivo is a liquor. It's generally consumed after dinner to help you digest, and it's generally herbal based. And it tends to be bittersweet. I personally don't like digestivo, but I will gladly take a shot of limoncello after dinner. So, to recap, when you go to Italy, to a restaurant, don't expect a side dish to come with your entree because most of the time it's not gonna happen. Remember that our entree is divided into 2 pieces, so we have primo and secondo. Remember that refills are not free, so if they bring you a bottle of water and you go through it, they will bring you another one, but you will have to pay for it. Same thing with sodas. Also, don't forget to ask for ice. Italians don't like ice. I myself don't really care for ice. So if it is 110 degrees outside, they will still give you warm soda. So please remember to ask for ice. You would say, vorrei una Coca-Cola col ghiaccio. Col ghiaccio means with ice. So please specify that. Also, they're not going to give you endless breadsticks with butter. That's Olive Garden thing. I don't know how Olive Garden is thought to be an Italian restaurant, but this is a matter for another video. They will just give you bread, they will bring you bread, and then generally they will give you olive oil and balsamic vinegar, or just olive oil, salt and pepper, and you can do your little dipping before the waiter comes to get your order. No butter with your bread at the beginning, just olive oil. One more observation is, I noticed that our portions tend to be smaller. Our dish itself, like the actual plate, is smaller. Versus in America, I noticed that portions tend to be much bigger. The plates are bigger, and that's also why after I moved here, I actually put on quite a bit of weight, because I'm guessing it's psychological. Whenever you're served a dish this big, eventually you're gonna wanna finish it because it's all up here. I noticed that when I go to Italy, they give me a smaller dish of pasta, but I'm never too hungry after that, because psychologically I think, okay, I finished my plate, it's now empty, I shouldn't be hungry anymore. One last thing that I want to point out. So there is something called coperto that you will find in pretty much every Italian restaurant, and you will never find anything like that here. I would say coperto is like a substitution to tips. As you know, in Italy, restaurant workers do not work for tips. If you want to give them something, of course, it is well accepted, but it's generally not customary, so they don't expect it. Instead of tips, what you have is this coperto, which is generally, I would say that nowadays it probably varies between $2.50 and $5 a person, depending if you go to expensive restaurants, of course, the coperto will be higher. So what coperto means, it literally means covered. But what it stands for is you're basically paying a charge per person that covers things like bread and oil that you're eating in the beginning, or even the linen and the dinnerware that you just used. And that's going to help the restaurant basically recover those expenses. I personally prefer tipping the waiter versus paying the coperto. I mean, not that you have a choice. You don't have a choice when you're in Italy, you just pay the coperto. But since I have lived so many years in both of these countries, I think tips are much better. They make more sense. You have somebody that serves you for a tip, obviously they're gonna get better service. So out of every information that I've given you on this video, if you ever have been to Italy, do you recognize any of these differences and informations that I just said? Has it ever happened to you that you got very confused trying to order something in an Italian restaurant? Also, could you think of more differences between the menu in Italian restaurants versus the menu in American restaurants? Let me know what you think. I'm very curious to hear your opinion and your thoughts and your experience, and I will see you next time. Ciao!